The policy does not clearly define what legally enforceable sanctions are in place when violations occur. It only refers violations to be handled in accordance with the department's internal investigations manual, or reference manual 220.01. However, this manual does not provide a general disciplinary matrix or minimum baseline for sustained complaints. The lack of formal disciplinary guidelines has actually been cited by both our commission and the California Attorney General's office, which we cited last year, back in 2020, specifically cited that deficiency in a report with a bunch of other recommendations. So beyond that, there are also 4 minimum requirements that City Council is required in order to approve the policy too. Under AB 481, it determines that all the following at minimum have to be met, which I believe you actually stated, Chair, that military equipment is necessary because there is no reasonable alternative that can achieve the same objective of officer and civilian safety. It also states that the proposed military equipment use policy will safeguard the public's welfare, safety, civil rights, and civil liberties, and that if purchasing the equipment is reasonably cost-effective compared to available alternatives that can achieve the same objective of officer and civilian safety, and that prior military equipment use complied with the military equipment use policy that was in effect at the time, or if prior uses did not comply with the accompanying military equipment use policy, corrective action has been taken to remedy nonconforming uses and ensure future compliance. Commissioner Guerrero said it very well. Like, we are hungry for that data. We want that data, and we've been asking for it for years, and we simply just haven't gotten it. And the data that we have gotten, which has been publicly released, has shown, unfortunately, a documented history of racial bias and discriminatory outcomes in literally every practice that the department and procedure the department is responsible for, which 3 separate studies over the last 20 years has confirmed disproportionately impact Black residents in particular. And just to be clear, it started with just examining traffic enforcement, enforcement of traffic violations, which in 2001 and 2008 showed that the Sacramento Police Department stopped Black motorists at twice the rate of other motorists. And then in the 3rd study, which was commissioned, back in 2020 and examined a more comprehensive period from 2014 to 2019, and it didn't just focus on traffic violations, it focused on non-traffic stops, on use of force. And in that study, which was commissioned by the department, it found that Black people were subjected to force 4.5 times as often as white people, which were 43% of all use of force incidents recorded between 2014 and 2019. And that was twice the national average at the time. So to that end, and this is based upon my experience, and is also, you've heard that frustration expressed from my fellow commissioners, that we haven't actually experienced that much with the police department, and I think you all understand that as well, and that's why you've been making very clear to direct the department to come to us when they are bringing up changes in their policy, which is such as general orders, which they just recently approved and implemented a number of general order changes, including one on the use of facial recognition technology that our body had no idea they had updated or even made. And those are the kinds of policy
Your comments, your time is complete.
I would hope I can still continue. Thank you, Mayor.
A few more seconds, okay? Because he's the vice chair, and this is relevant to approval of the process, so please do it.
Appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, those sorts of policy changes should be brought in proactively to the commission rather than us having to ask it, because I had to ask for that information from the city manager's office. And also to have the police department actually serve as direct representation, because as it has happened right now, since August, we have not had a police liaison directly serving on to that. And that was your direction, Mayor and City Council, from from the year before, and it still hasn't really been happening. And also, too, there are 2 chairs on this body that are representative of the full commission, and if we're not going to have direct PD liaison, we should at least have both chairs be able to have a presence within the conversations that happen between the city manager and the police department.
Can we